Buckle up for another episode of Ghostfacers, a supernatural rewatch podcast. My name is Richard, and sitting shotgun as always is my brother in podcasting, Reed.
Santa Claus is coming to town.
Oh, no.
Santa Claus is
Have
coming
yourself
to town.
a merry little... I'm singing you a carol.
Dreaming of a
No. I'm here. I'm a caroler.
Christmas.
I'm interrupting what you're doing right now.
Just like the porn I'm trying to watch.
Oh, no. We can't... I'm interrupting you. I'm a caroler.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed
Okay,
Reindeer.
Jesus Christ, let's get into this.
Ghostfacers! We face a ghost, when others will not, we're ghosts! Ghostfacers! Stay in the kitchen when the kitchen gets hot! Ghostfacers! We face a nightmare, we face a dread! Ghostfacers! We face a faceless, we face a dead!
Welcome to Ghostfacers. Today we're discussing Season 3, Episode 8, A Very Supernatural Christmas.
Yeah, and it's coming out at the perfect time of year.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, this is like our Christmas.
This is where we cue the September Santa sketch from Birthday Boys.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we are definitely a bit behind when you're considering the seasonality of this, but...
Or ahead. We're ahead. We don't fall behind.
No. We're award-winning. No, we're not. That's not
Well,
this
not
one.
here.
No.
We were nominated.
Yeah. Hey, that's something.
Yeah.
We're almost good enough.
Oh,
Dad?
Maybe one day. Especially with this episode. You can't throw that shit out there. No, there's too much of that in the episode already.
Papa, can you hear me? This episode aired, of course, December 13th. Ooh.
That's not Christmas.
Yeah, for you, it's got to be like December 23rd, or otherwise you can't celebrate.
Yeah.
You need to be looking through the eye of the nose
That's
of Christmas.
not true. I just don't like Christmas stuff being up before December. Just like keep it in the month. Keep it contained.
Yeah. Stay where you belong.
Yeah. Each holiday separate but equal.
Oh, no. God, if we haven't gotten canceled at this point, I don't know. We just balance it by saying something filthy about dudes.
Oh, yeah.
Santa, he can be my father. He's
Come down his chimney.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That was even worse than I first thought. This episode was written by the one and only, the great Jeremy Carver.
Ooh.
Big fan.
Very nice.
Directed by J. Miller Tobin. Viewed by an
How
estimate.
many Carver episodes have we had so far? Would you say?
Not very many, because I feel like he came in
This
around
is still
this season.
early days.
I feel like he
right?
came in like season 3.
But this
so.
isn't his first one.
I was trying to think of that. I didn't do the effort to go
Right.
back. I should have. It's definitely one of the early ones for sure. He hasn't done many this season because I'm pretty sure he came in season 3, so he must have written something. But no, I can't imagine this would be his first one. But definitely, what a fucking swing this one was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Great episode.
So, viewed by an estimated 3.02 million viewers, but up from last week.
Hey.
Let's find out why.
Maybe just 'cause it's a holiday episode. It's like, oh, let's see what they're doing over here.
Right? But not a huge jump. So I'm kind of curious. Maybe let's watch the promo and see if that gives us any insight to what happened.
That's a good promo.
It's pretty decent. It doesn't really give me enough.
No, but I just like he delivers fear.
Yes. I do like that.
So Jeremy Carver co-wrote the episode Sin City.
Yes.
With the town that's succumbing to its vices.
Yes.
He co-wrote that with Robert Singer. This is his first solo.
Oh, it is. It
writing
did
gig,
feel
it looks
like a bit unique to hear his name as just the writer for
Yeah.
this. That's so interesting.
So but these are only the first 2 Carver.
and the first
episodes.
just straight up Carver.
Yeah, and this is the first just straight up Carver.
Wow. I barely know her.
Oh, God, especially with this episode. Man.
I know. It's not setting myself up great here. But yeah, that was the promo for this Christmas episode. Some fun Christmas stuff. I cannot wait to start talking about this. But before we do, we have some international titles. Oh yeah.
Give it to me. Come on.
Redemption!
Is this good?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's not like season 1 good, but it's
We're
pretty good.
back,
We're
baby.
heading there because this is a long, weird title and has to be sort of like culturally specific.
Right.
It helps for sure.
Yeah.
So of course, a very supernatural Christmas. This is sort of playing off of, and what this whole episode does in a lot of different ways. Tries to play off a lot of the like 80s Christmas specials and stuff. So like a very blank episode of things. Like
Yes, exactly.
a really popular sort of naming convention for like 80s sitcoms and things like that.
Absolutely.
So who got it right?
Like Brazil.
Yes, Brazil always. I wonder if it's just like, is it
That they lack imagination.
I mean, no, it's not in Brazil.
That's right. I'm looking at you, Brazil.
It is interesting
That they're still reeling from seeing that safe being dragged through the streets. They don't know how to recover enough to make a different title for these episodes.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Natal muito sobrenatural.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, a very supernatural Christmas.
Yeah.
Next, Germany.
Oh, do they call it like Krampusnacht or something?
No,
like that?
unfortunately,
Or,
they don't go the like Krampus route. I was sad nobody did that.
Or do they? Eine kleine Supernaturalen Christmas.
No, it's super short.
Oh, okay then.
It's just supernatural Christmas.
Oh,
It's not very.
okay, not very.
Yeah.
We don't want to oversell this.
Yes, this is just kind of spooky Christmas.
Frankly, this is the first supernatural Christmas, so the very seems like overkill.
Yeah, yeah.
And we know something about overkill.
Oh no! Yeah, we start. This is the baseline. We go
As
from
the
here.
world's reigning experts in overkill,
Oh,
if we are telling you not to use the word,
Yes.
a very,
Yeah,
have your first supernatural Christmas.
yeah,
Then afterwards, if you're feeling like it and the time is right, you can add a very later.
yeah. Increase the supernatural later.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's very hard to walk back if you go too far.
Trust me.
We know.
Trust. The French title.
Naughty children.
Oh no.
Oh no.
No.
I didn't like that.
No, even the tone.
Okay, even that voice. Okay, there's a is it Gigi? There's a classic movie musical. I
Okay.
think it's Gigi that opens with the very famous French actor whose name I'm not going to remember right
Yeah.
now, and he sings this whole song about like little girls
Oh,
that
no.
grow into women.
Oh,
And
no.
I think at the time it was supposed to be very pleasant. You look at it now, and I was like, my wife loves old movie musicals, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
She's only 17.
No, he's like little girls. That's what I just thought of. When
Not
when
good.
I said
Not
that.
good. No. Le festin du Père Noël.
I mean, that's not even what they call Christmas.
This is the feast of Santa Claus.
Yeah. Welcome to the Comedy Central Feast of Santa Claus. Santa, you fat fuck.
Yeah. Very funny. Yes, the feast of Santa Claus.
Okay.
Not really. I mean, sort of, but not really.
Yeah. Not to be confused with the Feet of Santa Claus, which is a very specific holiday-themed porno.
I mean, but there's a lot of them. God, that's a whole website. But you know who's left?
Poland?
No.
Or Italy? Or Hungary? Is Hungary back?
Hungary's back, baby.
Hungary. Bursted through the wall
Speaking of feast.
like the Kool-Aid man.
Yeah. All right. With a pretty good bonkers one.
All right. Hungary is the gift of death.
No, that's a little too aggressive for Hungary,
Oh,
I
okay,
think.
sorry.
Yeah. This is the Christmas is on the other side.
The Christmas
The
is on
Christmas.
the other side.
Yeah. I was like, of what?
That feels like it was put into Google Translate into Hungarian
Yeah.
and then put into Google Translate back out of Hungarian
yeah.
again. Yeah.
I was like, wait, what?
Wow. Like not the other side of Christmas.
Nope. No, the Christmas, is on the other
on the other side.
Yeah. That was like that dollar store Batman toy that you saw.
Yeah. Or that Captain America.
Oh,
one,
yeah,
like
yeah.
Super herd.
Yes.
I got for you. Yeah.
Yeah, the Christmas is on the other side.
All right.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Some featured music for this episode.
Yeah. No world, no world.
Surprisingly not.
No world, no world.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, actually watching this, I was like, man, I fucking love Christmas carols.
Oh, weird.
They're all about Christ, and I could do without that.
Yeah.
But some of them just sound so fucking tight. I
Yeah.
really love Christmas carols.
Yeah.
I think it's also because this morning I also watched a Christmas episode of Blackish.
Oh,
So
weird.
I've had like a lot of Christmas happening.
Maybe it's time to start celebrating it earlier.
no.
Not worth it.
No.
God, no.
So what's the featured music?
Some featured music. So what I love is this website lists this as a featured song from this episode, which I
Alright.
really like. So that I got this.
Oh,
that I
Holy
pulled from
Night.
this. It's Silent Night
Yeah.
by Sam and Dean Winchester.
Oh, right.
Because they
have to-
sing it.
yeah.
I was like, yeah, I guess.
It's not really what feature. Yeah.
No, I
yeah.
know. We have Deck the Halls by Traditional Arrangement.
I love them trying to like cite public
I know.
domain.
It's so funny. And then Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas by Rosemary Clooney.
There you go.
The only popular celebrity Clooney.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no other one.
Mother of Amal Clooney's husband.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I forgot whatever his name was.
Yeah.
Jorge.
Yeah. Batman.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Batman. Amal's white
You know
husband.
the most famous Batman actor.
Yeah. TV Guide describes this episode as Sam and Dean investigate murders committed by an anti-Santa who pulls his victims up the chimney. And Dean wants to celebrate a traditional Christmas.
Jesus.
Yeah, where Christ did it. Since it
Yeah,
will.
Dean spends the whole episode saying, "Put the Christ back in Christmas."
Yeah. It's a weird spin for him for sure. But Sam refuses, not wanting to accept that Dean won't be around next year.
Yeah, not wanting to accept Christ into his heart.
Yeah. But God, I there is so much to talk about this episode.
There is.
But we can't start yet.
No.
We
know the rules.
Yeah, we're beholden to the rules. I'm chained to the rules.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a rope of rules around my neck and it's pulling me down. I'm choking on the rules.
Yes. Yeah, the boot of rules.
Yeah, is just pressing just on my larynx. But before we get into our thoughts on today's episode, let's open up Dad's Journal and learn about some of the real world lore. Don't stop. just let it be the end. You know that's the end.
But you didn't even like intonation wise let that be the end of the sentence. You're like the real world lore.
I know. I said the real world lore.
Yeah,
And that's it.
Let's see what the lore
You know how you
says.
end every sentence by going, and that's it.
And that's it.
That's how you know a sentence is over.
Over. You
That's what
gotta do
periods
it
stand for,
Radio over.
Yeah.
Let's see what the lore says about Krampus.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
It's that time of the
Yeah,
month.
Damn it, I was this close. Fucking beat me to it. I took too much time. That was my fault. Yeah. I mean, so we know.
What a terrible way to call it that. You got the case of the Krampus.
Oh, I didn't even think.
Oh, really? That's immediately why.
I didn't even think of the portmanteau.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was just thinking of the word cramp.
No.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so much worse. Oh, Christ. So, I mean, as we know.
Uh-oh, have you been a bad girl this month? Krampus is about to visit.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Gross.
kind of love it too.
I mean, it's a good pun.
Yeah.
But I hate it. So Christmas folklore is almost like entirely derived from like older non-Christian pagan beliefs.
Yes.
From the tree to even like when it occurs, like there's
You're talking about the other side of Christmas.
well, the Christmas is on the other side.
Oh, okay.
so
I'm sorry.
let's not-
God, I sound like a fucking idiot.
yeah, let's not do that. So there's a bunch of like different kind of Eastern European and like Slavic and Alpine kind of folklore that goes into what we think of as like the Christmas tradition. That we
Yeah.
have now, blended with a lot of Christian shit. So there's a one that I found. His name is Dead Moros. He's a Slavic winter wizard.
Oh my God, hell yeah.
That fills some of the role of Santa, like bringing gifts and that.
Yeah.
He was also known as a snow demon.
Ooh.
But the word...
There's snow demon like this demon.
Jesus. But that's like when we did the demon talk, the word demon didn't used to mean evil, just meant like a spirit.
Yes.
So that's kind of where like that one comes from.
It's a snow spook.
There's Sinterklaas in Dutch.
Sinterklaas?
Sinterklaas. He's said to be based on like the legendary gift giving of the Christian Saint Nicholas.
Yes.
And Sinterklaas was always accompanied by like a counterpart named Zwarte Piet or Black Peter.
Yes, I've heard of Black Peter.
Black Peter would bring candy and stuff, but he also carried like a broom to spank naughty children.
A switch?
What?
A switch?
A broom.
Yeah, that's if it's like a stick that you hit people with, it's called a switch.
But no, sometimes it was like a chimney broom.
Oh, okay.
To spank naughty children.
Uh-oh. I've been bad this year.
So similar in some ways to Black Peter, Krampus is like a punishing figure of old folklore. He's said to scare children who misbehave.
Why'd they call him Black Peter?
Because it's racist.
Yeah. What am I talking about? It's anything
Black Peter is dressed like a Moor.
Yeah, anything before yesterday, if it's called black something, it's racist.
Basically.
All things are racist, basically, all the time.
Pretty much.
Yeah, most things are racist. Just assume they are. If you have to ask the question, do you think that's racist? Yeah. I saw a sign today, actually, just
that
around
said, do you think this is racist?
No. I saw a sign today that we were trying to figure out if it was like anti-establishment or racist.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you've seen it. There's like a piece of paper around like a light pole or
the one down by the CBC.
It's the one across from the deli.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And it says something along the lines of like they don't pay taxes. I don't have a home. And we were like,
I'm gonna just throw my hat in the ring that he's not talking about corporations.
That's what I was like. Maybe
if he is, love it.
Yeah.
I feel like he's not.
It's such a hard line. I was just like,
It's really
like the paper's thinnest line ever.
It's ambiguous enough that he can't be forced to take the sign down.
Yeah, exactly.
So the word Krampus, it comes from the German word Krampen, which means a claw.
Oh.
The origin of Krampus is hard to pin down.
Take my stone Krampen.
It's hard to pin down, but he may be tied to Norse mythology. He could be the son of Hel, god of the underworld.
Oh yeah. I mean, they always like a lot of the versions look like a little devil.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that. So he's no matter what, he's likely quite a bit older than the influence of Christianity.
Yeah.
Therefore, older than Saint Nicholas or Santa Claus, meaning that Krampus, like the legend of Krampus, over time has morphed to align with those Christian things.
Yeah.
He existed well before Santa did.
Yes.
So by the 17th century, he was sort of incorporated and worked into Christian Christmas traditions. So unlike Black Peter, Krampus is not described as being especially human. He's almost more of like a beast. Cloven hooves, hairy, fangs, forked tongue. He was essentially aligned with Satan.
Yeah. It looks like a little devil. Yeah.
He's bound in chains. He carries birch branches for swatting children. In some versions, he carries a sack, like Santa, to take naughty children away, possibly to drown them, eat them, or drag them to hell.
Whoa.
And in other versions, like in Croatia, they say the sack is simply to take away the gifts of naughty children.
That seems like a bit of a difference.
I'm going to take your gifts. The gift of life.
Yeah. Feels like you could have said that in a different way. I fucking love Krampus, like as like a thing. Like,
as a concept, yeah. It's funny, yeah. I mean, it's definitely one of those things. You know, we talked about like the Grimm fairy tales and that sort of thing. Like, it shouldn't come as a surprise that this is vaguely Germanic.
Yes,
and that they were like the way to guarantee obedience and respect for authority through fear.
Yeah,
a lesson we will never have to unlearn.
Yeah. Some may say Grimm fairy tale. Is that overkill? I'd say we don't know the meaning.
Jeez.
I love Krampus. I love the more like recent Krampus movie that came out.
I mean, that Krampus movie adds a layer to it where, like, I'm pretty sure that movie establishes that Krampus has finally killed Santa.
Yeah.
Because I'm positive he's wearing Santa's face.
Yeah.
In that movie.
There's a really great international
I
movie.
liked that movie a lot.
Have you seen Rare Exports?
Yes.
That's a great movie.
The evil Santa thing is actually very like well trod, especially like, Rare Exports is one. There's also there's another one too. There's a few kind of evil Santa riffs, and that idea that he's like maniacal cosmic power or some shit like that. And
the way that American Dad does Krampus is so good.
Oh, really?
They have like a huge, long-standing like history of Krampus on the show.
Oh, really?
And they have like a battle with Santa for really many seasons. Like
Teen Titans Go fight Santa a lot.
There is but they stopped you having Krampus on American Dad because you know who did the singing voice of Krampus?
No,
it was Charles Bradley.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, so they did like this incredible musical episode, and Charles Bradley was the voice of it, and that's where I found out about him.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's an incredible episode.
Weird.
Yeah, it's really good.
Well, so Krampus is part of some folk traditions.
Mm-hmm.
So the Feast of St. Nicholas is on, I think, December 6th. The night before is called Krampusnacht. And the idea is that on that night, the night before the Feast of St. Nicholas, Krampus would show up, sometimes accompanied by St. Nick or sometimes just by himself, to beat children and take their toys or drag them to hell, I guess.
As you do, yeah.
But it started these like kind of folk things called like the Krampus Run, where everyone would dress like goat creatures and run through the streets like dress like Krampus and stuff. Like,
that's not terrifying.
Sort of like a folk festival. Yeah, I mean, like when Christianity was like entering, they were like, this is not okay.
Yeah.
It's customary apparently to offer schnapps to Krampus.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Krampus loves the schnapps.
Yeah. Krampus, have a schnapps. You're not you when you're thirsty.
Yeah. Glug, glug, glug. Oh, thanks. That's great.
Ho, ho, ho.
Oh, but that's just a good like Snickers commercial now.
Snickers commercial,
God,
actually.
do we need to get them as a client?
But yeah, so I mean, that's Krampus. The layer that I liked in that kind of more recent North American Krampus movie was the idea that like
bringing toys to life.
Well, that, but also like he is very clearly tied to like hell of some kind because he traps them in the like ornament of like living in that moment of being
Spice Girls style,
of being that rotten family stuck together forever.
Yeah,
that's how that movie ends. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's the same feeling I had watching the end of that Spice Girls video where I was disturbed and upset and didn't want to watch it again.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly not what I'd usually take away from a Spice Girls video.
Yeah,
but,
that video fucked me up for years.
Are you gonna be all right?
No, I haven't been, and I won't.
Which video is that again?
Where they're like inside the balls?
Is that Viva Forever?
I think so, yeah. Not Viva Forever. Bad Forever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, very sad. I don't like it.
Oh, there you go.
A very sad Christmas.
Oh, no. That's Krampus, baby.
Holy shit, which means we are now getting into the episode. And to kick it off, I've got a ton to say.
Oh, big surprise.
I've got so much to say about this episode. I cannot wait.
Let's do it. This is a fun episode.
So if you just recently watched the episode, then you probably remember it's got a really weird then. There's not a then. There's this weird thing that shows up right before. So a fan of Christmas television specials growing up, series creator Eric Kripke desired to make the most violent Christmas special in history of television. That was his goal here. Despite the dark storyline, Kripke found it important to maintain the trappings of a really cheery traditional Christmas special.
Right.
He was intent on including a special presentation title at the beginning of the episode that was used specifically by CBS in the 1980s.
Yeah.
Though it was really difficult to find who created and scored it, they eventually did receive permission. Keeping to the holiday theme, the episode shied away from the usual rock-heavy soundtrack and instead featured a Christmas song remade in different styles composed by Jay Gruska. So, already love that.
Yeah. It's a fun start to it.
Yeah. a not so fun start to it. During the filming of this episode, Jared Padalecki, who had been having some personal issues, had a panic attack. The doctor suggested that he may have been clinically depressed. When Jared seems to have overcome this, or at least managed it well, it is still a factor for him when he ran his Always Keep Fighting campaign in the early 2015, selling shirts with Sam Winchester's portrait and the slogan to benefit the charity To Write Love on Our Arms. This is a charity that raises and provides aids to people suffering from depression and related illnesses. So that's where we're beginning, right? So,
Oh, Jesus.
So Jared's not in a great place.
Right.
And
I mean, frankly, neither is Sam in this episode.
well, exactly. So
which may have exacerbated that, maybe.
Yeah, possibly. So now let's get into the now.
Yeah.
1 year ago, Seattle, Washington. A man visits his grandson at Christmas. My first thought while watching this scene also was like, where's this guy's family? Like,
Is it 1 year ago?
yeah, that starts with 1 year ago.
Oh, weird. Oh, right. Right.
Yeah.
I understand, yeah.
He visits his grandson at Christmas, and that evening, that grandfather then dresses up as Santa.
Yeah, the kid is like, will Santa come? And he's like, I'm sure he will.
Yeah.
And then, like, you see him dressed as Santa, and he's, like, making noise. And
Yes.
the kid comes
Looking
down, and
up,
he's like,
waiting.
Santa. It's very cute.
Yeah, and then he starts unloading presents from his sack, aware that the grandson is peeking through the banisters. And then they hear a huge clatter on the ceiling, and the kid's like,
The kid's
Reindeer.
like, reindeer. The grandpa's like,
what the fuck was that? So the grandfather decides, as any smart person would do, let's look up the chimney.
So, like, what are you going to see?
Yeah,
The
it's
chimney
pure
goes
black.
higher than the roof of that house. So
Yeah.
if something's on the, you're not going to see it.
No, I don't know what he was trying to do there, and he's punished for it.
Yeah. Like, the fucking crunching sound as he's, like, pulled up the chimney
Yep,
is crazy.
it's awful. The grandson watches in horror as the grandfather is yanked up the chimney and his bloody boot falls to the bottom of the fireplace.
It's fucking crazy.
What an insane, one of the best like cold opens.
Oh, yeah. It's so much worse than just, like, his head gets bitten off. or,
Yeah.
like, some shit like that. Like, his body is, like, crushed and pulled up a chimney.
Your
that's too
imagination
small
is
for him.
so much more vivid than
Yes.
reality can ever be, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
to do that is insane. So that's our cold open for this episode. What an insane beginning. We now go to present day in Ypsilanti, Michigan. In the guise of FBI agents, Sam and Dean are visiting Mrs. Walsh, whose husband had just disappeared.
Yeah.
So very similar situation. It
Yeah,
feels like.
it's like 3 days to Christmas.
Yeah.
She's upset, and yeah, they're kind of just taking the last of her statement. Sam comes out from inside and goes like, "I think we got everything we need here," sort of thing.
Yeah. The only clue that they found basically is there's a bloody tooth inside the fireplace.
Yeah, and Sam says something like, Dean says something like a tooth or whatever. Sam's like, I think he was pulled up the chimney. Dean's like, you can't fit up a chimney. And Sam's like, not in one piece.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, Christ.
Yeah, already really, really vivid thing. So then they go back to their motel, and Sam is researching what possibly could have happened. Dean asks Sam, so was I right? Is it a serial killing chimney sweep? To Sam, who replies, yep, it's actually Dick Van Dyke. So those who don't know, Dick Van Dyke is famous for playing Bert and singing and dancing Chimney Sweep from the Disney classic Mary Poppins.
I does what I likes and I likes what I do.
The most accurate British accent to ever exist.
It's so outrageous that
It's almost as good as our British accents.
or like fucking isn't it John Wayne trying to do an Australian accent in like Great Escape or
Yes.
some shit like that? Or
So funny. Sam finds out that he is the second man to disappear in this town and speculates that they may be dealing with potentially evil Santa, as
he calls him an anti-Claus, which is very cute because it sounds like Santa Claus.
Yes. The myth of the anti-Claus, an evil, as we've already talked about, an evil antithesis of Santa who stuffs his victims in sacks and then takes them off to eat them, became the episode's inspiration. However, the writers were hesitant to establish the creature of an anti-Claus because then it would implicate the existence of an actual Santa Claus, which I love that they were already thinking in those terms. They're like, well, if we create this, then that means this.
I mean, we'll get to it later, but there's a few things that come up in this episode that implicate other things.
Yeah.
And you're like, this episode is actually weirdly lore heavy for the show.
100%.
There's a lot going on in this episode,
which I love.
It feels like a throwaway episode or a one and done kind of thing. It kind of is, but at the same time, like, this episode contributes a weird amount of, I guess maybe it's just, that's the thing that Carver is really bringing too, is like, Kripke and Singer and all those folk are already contributing lots to like the establishing lore and sort of structure of the world. We're in season 3 after all.
Totally. Yeah.
But Carver really, I feel like, is a driving force behind the, like, a lot more of the, if this is true, then this is true. And I feel like that's really the contribution to Carver on the show. And that's the thing that really kind of like blows the show outward.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to remedy this dilemma, they incorporated the mythology of the pagan god Hold Nikar, who generally is believed to be the precedent of Santa. Kripke proudly noted that the lore is one of their most accurate, since most Christmas traditions have pagan origins.
Yeah,
which I love. That's awesome. So the boys decide to check out Santa's village, which both men apparently had visited before they had disappeared.
Yeah.
Dean says as they arrive that he wants to celebrate Christmas with Sam, and Sam immediately just blows him off.
He's like, no.
Dean's
like, come on, it'll be like the old days. And Sam's like, those weren't good memories for me.
Yeah, exactly.
And Dean calls him a Grinch.
And then they basically just
they
move
kind
forward.
of walk away, and Dean's like, how are we supposed to, like, how would this anti-Claus like know who's naughty or whatever? And they look over at the scummiest, creepiest, like, small town Santa.
Yeah.
But like, hey, little kid. And they're like, oh, that's how you'd find out who's naughty or nice.
But before even that happened, we get a flashback. Our first
that's right,
big flashback of the episode to Broken Bow, Nebraska in 1991. Young Sam and Dean are in a motel room waiting for their father to return. Sam is actually watching the Rankin and Bass Christmas special, The Year Without a Santa Claus, from 1974 while wrapping his presents.
Yep.
And he's wrapping our presents specifically for his dad, which he had got from Uncle Bobby, and is asking questions about John. So this is the first time that we like implicate Bobby as part of the kid's past, because we sort of like know that they maybe knew him before, but this is like, oh, he's always been around.
Yeah, I mean, this is we're retconning
a bit. I mean, they didn't give us enough information that we're changing information.
We've never been told expressly that he wasn't there, but the retcon is like, oh no, he was really there.
Yes,
he's
exactly.
part of the family.
Exactly. And Sam starts asking questions about their dad, John. What does he do? Where does he go? Dean brushes off the question, but gets angry specifically when Sam then goes like, asks about their mother.
Yeah.
Which unfairly, he just goes like, "Don't you ever ask about our mother?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that seems like a weird thing
Dean
to say."
Goes like ballistic.
Yeah. I mean,
it's
even old Dean goes ballistic when you bring up the mom. Yeah. So it's not a big surprise. But yeah, then we return to Ypsilanti at the Santa's village. Sam and Dean are then looking at this piece of shit scumbag.
He's so creepy.
Yeah, who's who one of the things they say is like, hey, one of the ways that you'll know if it's this anti-Claus is that he walks with a limp and he smells like candy. And Sam goes like, why would he smell like candy? And they're like, to bring in kids closer.
To like
and
lure,
Dean's fully creeped out by that.
Yeah, the guy walks away like for his break and he's limping, and Sam's like, lots of people have a limp, and Dean's like, we'll find out.
Yeah, Dean says the creepy limping craptastic Santa smells like candy, and Sam says no, that's Ripple. So a bit of, because I didn't know what Ripple was, a bit of information about that. So in 1960, Ian J. Gallo introduced Ripple. Because I've heard of like Ripple on like ice cream and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But Ripple is actually a very sweet, slightly fizzy, fortified, spiked with extra alcohol wine that is very low price, overly sweet wine that was marketed for casual novice drinkers, but quickly became the reputed favorite of derelict drinkers. While Ripple was taken off the market in 1984, that name has become slang for cheap, sweet wino wine.
Right.
Because Santa and his elves are working in this very tired little themed park, the elves were actually also given really ill-fitting costumes. Though new, they were altered to look shabby. The Santa's grungy appearance reflected his drunken state. So that's where we're getting the sort of setup. We're like, okay, we know who the bad guy is. This should be easy to solve.
This leads to what is both one of the saddest and funniest sequences. Maybe the show in general.
I fucking love this.
They're staking out this Santa's like trailer.
Yeah,
and the Santa and they're like nothing is happening, and they're like trying to stay awake, staking him out. And the Santa goes to the window and he like looks around and he closes the curtains, and they're like, it's go time. And they hear screams or whatever. Yeah. And they go in, and the Santa is watching porn.
Yep.
And drinking. And the porn is like, oh, why don't you roast my chestnuts?
Yep.
It's like Christmas porn. He's watching Christmas porn. And they bust in. And he's like, what do you go? And then Sam realizes what's happening, that no one's being attacked or whatever. And they start singing Silent Night like they're carolers, and the guy's like, oh yeah, that's great. Yeah.
And they like do not know the words to I mean, like this was a little unbelievable of how much they don't know Silent Night, but I guess given their childhood, maybe that's true. But it's like literally like they're like, Silent Night, the table is like
it's so funny.
It's
everything
so sad
about
and so
it is funny. Santa is worried that someone's going to peep on him jerking off to Christmas porn when weirdly, that's probably the most Santa thing he's done all day. The fact that the guys spent hours staking this guy out and all he was trying to do is jerk off.
So funny.
And then they break in and he's like, what? And they don't even fight him. They're like, we're carolers. Like, carolers break in.
I know.
And the guy's like, yeah, it's great. Fucking Christmas.
Yeah. I love the, like, comically large size bong that is in front of him.
Everything about it is very funny.
He's so high and so drunk. I also love that he takes the time to close the curtains on his little trailer before jerking off, which is on the other side of the trailer. Like, that's in the kitchen that he closed the blinds.
Oh, yeah. Jeez Louise.
You gotta set the mood.
Who knows where the night will take me?
Yeah,
if I move to the kitchen. I don't want to have to close the blinds later.
So funny.
But also just, it's a Christmas porn.
I know. A very Christmas porn. So elsewhere that same night, we see then a child coming down the stairs at the sound of a figure coming through the chimney.
Yeah.
The child walks up to the fireplace, and this large figure comes out of the chimney, out of the fireplace, and walks past the child, heading just directly upstairs into a bedroom.
And the kid is like, and
this is the scariest fucking part of this whole episode.
Yeah,
because it's just like it's got a sack. You can hear walk into the room, you hear a woman scream, then go silent,
and then you hear like a squelch. And shit. The thing comes back around, stops, looks at the kid,
drags this bag down the stairs. Clearly, the guy's like moving inside of the bag still.
Takes the thing reaches down, and you're like, "Oh no, not the kid!" And he takes a cookie.
Oh my god!
Moves on. You never see its face.
No,
you do see that it has a human hand.
Yeah,
though. Like it looks at first like it has claws, but you discover that's just like part of the suit.
Like blood and stuff too.
Yeah.
And the sound it makes too, again, when it goes up the chimney and you hear like the it's awful. It's such a terrible moment. And it's, as like a parent, it must be terrifying.
I mean, the Santa thing opens the home invasion Pandora's box a little bit.
Of like dumb kids who are like, hey, my friend's here. It's like the clown episode.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That shit. But also like imagine being that kid where you're like, not only did I didn't even that night didn't actually convince me that Santa wasn't real.
Yeah.
It convinced me that Santa killed my dad.
Yeah. So like that's gonna fuck up that kid for the rest of his life.
Be like
there are people like Santa's not real, and you'd be like, oh really?
He murdered my dad.
Yeah. Santa is real and is not what you think.
He's a Santa truther.
Yeah.
He grows up to be a Santa.
You won't believe what Santa's done.
Chimney fires don't actually burn at hot enough of a temperature to take down Santa.
Yeah, he brings a gift, the gift of death. So we then go to Sam and Dean investigating that house the next day. Sam, walking through the house, asks about the wreath to this woman who's clearly distraught and is just like, what?
Yeah, it's clearly a clue for Sam, but it's a moment of not being very smooth. He's like, tell me about the wreath. And she's like, what? And he's like, I'm curious.
I know, yeah. The worst part, not to be like, hey, this is part of the case. I just need to know.
All you have to say is like, it's part of the investigation.
It's relevant,
man.
yeah. Like, but instead he just goes,
we understand this is difficult, but this is relevant, man.
Yeah.
That's all you have to say. And he goes like, I'm curious.
Yeah, and the really unfortunate fact is because then after that leaves them open for when they leave the house for Dean to make a terrible like homosexual joke. Which I hate when they do that.
Yeah.
He goes like, oh yeah, did you notice her shoes and her like purse or something too? And I'm like, oh,
come on,
Dean,
man,
dirtbag Dean. Less and less, but he's back.
Yeah, he's still in there.
Yeah,
he's still in there.
So
they do notice, that the wreath is a
unique
connective
one and
tissue between these two houses.
Absolutely.
So they go on the hunt for where the wreaths came from.
So Sam ends up calling Bobby. We go back to the motel, and after speaking with Bobby, Sam identifies that the plant that the wreath is made out of is actually meadowsweet, an herb used in pagan rites to summon gods to a human sacrifice.
Yeah. So then they're like, okay, so these people aren't doing it to themselves. So whoever's selling the wreath is like sacrificing people to a pagan god. I don't think we've encountered a pagan god since the Vanir.
No, exactly. No, we haven't. Sam concludes that they're looking for a pagan god of the winter solstice who grants clement weather. Yeah, mild weather, which they're like, I guess that's why it's not snowing outside.
In Michigan, where we are.
In Michigan, 100%. So a few interesting facts here. So Sam says meadowsweet is pretty rare and probably the most powerful plant in pagan lore. While meadowsweet is actually common throughout Europe, Asia, and North America, it has indeed been very popular since the Bronze Age, about 3000 BC to 1000 BC. Its pleasant fragrance and taste made it useful for everything from floor covering to mead flavoring. Right. But while talking about Christmas and how pagan practices were co-opted by Christianity, Sam says that Jesus was most likely born in the fall. However, a reading of various biblical accounts suggests that Jesus was probably actually born in the summer.
Yeah. Well, and that, again, that's the thing. They were just like, we got to line it up with a pagan holiday. And they're like, Yule. And they just kind of pick it.
Yeah. Once again, Dean suggests that they celebrate Christmas. When Sam asks why, that he hasn't mentioned it for years, Dean admits that he wants to celebrate it this year as his last year. There's actually a really well-acted moment, too. Like you see tears in Dean's eyes, like starting to well up.
Yeah, it's a little crack in the usual Dean, like, it'll be fun kind of facade.
Yeah.
Sam comes back with that's why I can't.
Yes.
And you're kind of like, you're sort of making it about you, Sam.
Yeah.
Dean's the one who's going to go to hell.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Maybe fucking put some lights up.
Sam, that's very true.
Jesus.
Yeah, when Dean starts talking about Christmas, Sam asks Dean, I mean, since when are you Bing Crosby all of a sudden? Why do you want to do Christmas so bad? So from the recording of White Christmas in 1942 to his duet with David Bowie of Little Drummer Boy and Peace on Earth in 1977.
God, that is an awkward thing to watch. Have you ever watched that?
Yeah, it's really terrible.
Yeah, it's hard to watch. Bing Crosby clearly does not know who Bowie is.
No. And his movies Holiday Inn in 1942, which is a good movie,
and White Christmas.
White Christmas in 1954. In addition to his annual televised Christmas special, Bing Crosby is an American Christmas icon.
Yeah. He also beat his kids with
and he was a drunk.
Yeah.
My favorite Bing Crosby line of all time is when he talks about people who are sober, and he's like, when they wake up, that's the best they feel all day. He's like, I feel sad for them.
Oh, Jesus.
That's a Bing Crosby line.
Have yourself another little drinky.
Yes. If you watch him in those old roasts,
You can float away.
I won't feel another moment of pain.
Oh, Christ. Get me another sack of oranges so I can beat my kids.
Yeah, he was a bad guy, but a great Christmas icon. So we then go another flashback to 1991. A young Sam reveals to Dean that he has read John's journal because he starts asking questions. He's like, well, actually, what he starts saying is, I know why Dad's not here. I know.
I do like this, like these flashbacks in this episode. I love that we're like on this moment of like Sam has already lost a degree of innocence because they live in motels and Dad's never around and shit like that. But this idea that like it's at Christmas time that he discovers that monsters are real.
Yeah.
His dad hunts them and they killed his mom.
Yeah.
Is like, oh, fuck, man.
All at once.
On Christmas Eve.
Yeah, yeah. And young Dean is basically going like, he's like, stop asking. You don't want to know. You don't want. But again, he's not equipped with real like adult a control of emotions and knowledge and
yeah, like yeah.
So he just like sort of goes like, all right, yeah, you found the fucking journal then, I guess. All right, well, yeah, monsters are real. Mom got killed by a monster. Our dad's a fucking hero.
But he's still doing he's doing the big brother thing where like Sam's like, Dad said the monsters under my bed weren't real, and he was like, well, he already checked there.
Yeah,
which is also kind of like Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they also found a gun under Dean's pillow too.
Yeah, I know. I mean, both of these kids are really good.
Yeah.
They are doing a lot of heavy lifting that, like...
Incredible.
Frankly, sometimes even Jared doesn't manage. Like, these kids are doing a really good job, you know? The kid playing Dean is like... Again, yeah, you're right. He's not equipped with the tools, so he's like, stop asking questions. Stop. He's just getting angry. But then he's like... Fuck, like, yeah, I guess you found out when the kid playing young Sam is like, I just want to go to sleep, and he's crying and that Dean kid is just sitting there and he's like, I promise I'll take care of you. Like,
yeah, he's just like fucking drinking whiskey. Like, there is a moment where he swigs something. I'm like, is that beer? I'm like, no, it's got to be like just a pop or something. But
it's like Caprice.
Yeah, it was very funny. But yeah,
they're doing a great job though. It's a very like emotional scene. You know,
totally.
Sam's like entire world like comes down on Christmas Eve, and their dad's not even there for it. He's not even hearing it from his dad. He's just he found it. He's been lied to. They live on the road for. I mean, he thought they lived on a road. He said, like, was that a spy salesman or shit like that? But, like, yeah, it's so much worse.
Yeah.
You kind of realize that he's, like, this kid is realizing that his life has been, like, irreparably fucked with.
Oh, yeah, and he's fully fucked. Like, there's no good way out. Like, the dad's not going to get a big sale and their life's going to change. Like, this is the rest of his life now.
Yeah.
More scary than monsters, it's like, this is it. So get used to it.
Yeah, it's oh god, it's heartbreaking.
Because at least as I can attest, as like a poor child, you can always go like, hey, something's gonna happen, like the big deal's gonna happen, or they're gonna get a job, or like they're gonna stop drinking. Like this is like, no, this is it. There is no getting better. There's not like fixing like monsters.
Yeah, exactly.
Like get used to it.
Oh god.
Yeah, it's a really sad moment, and just sort of like undercutted by, oh yeah, my monsters are all real.
Yeah, I mean it's so much not about the monsters.
But there is a moment where Sam goes, well, monsters got our mom then. So if monsters got our mom, then monsters can get our dad. If monsters can get our dad, monsters can get us.
Yeah.
And Dean doesn't have the ability to go like, yeah, but here's the thing. The monsters got the mom first, and then our dad got really good at hunting monsters because of that. So like actually he's good now. That won't happen, but doesn't do that. So he just goes, no, you don't get it.
Yeah, he's not equipped.
No.
Dean is only 4 years older.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. So we then flash back to the present. The next day, the brothers visit Madge and Edward Kerrigan, who are the ones who they found out are selling these wreaths. Because they first
go
go
to like a wreath store.
yeah,
and
a
the
Christmas
guy's-
store.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the guy's like, oh yeah, some broad dropped off all these wreaths for free. I've been selling them. I'm all out.
Well, I love because he's like, yeah, so Broad just said that these were so special she couldn't make them pay for it. And
So I made them pay for
yeah,
it.
yeah, well, because I think Dean or Sam goes like, but you didn't sell them for free, did you? He goes, no, people are fucking idiots. They'll spend anything for Christmas shit.
Yeah.
Very funny. But he basically goes like,
I love a cynical Christmas shop owner.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, people love this fucking joyful time.
Rubes.
Yeah. Yeah, this isn't even fucking mistletoe.
Actually, it's poison ivy. You do not want to touch that.
No, don't get your lips anywhere
Certainly
near
not
there.
with your lips.
No, certainly not. Don't wrap that around your dong if you're trying to get special things going on. Trust me.
Listen, I've been there. Who hasn't?
Yeah. You.
We've all wrapped a strange vine around our penis trying to get a mistletoe snug.
Yeah. Every holiday, you put the pumpkin around it. Easter, you put some ribbon.
Bunch of fucking eggs.
Yeah. Look, it's the holiday tradition. What can you put around your dong? Just not this. Poison ivy is bad.
Yeah, 4th of July, fireworks. Ouch.
Yeah. Won't be doing that again. Not able to. What does that mean? Don't ask questions you don't want the answer to. Welcome to Johnny's holiday decor.
Bring, bring. Hey, sorry to cold call, but we got all these hazardous waste signs.
Oh, shit!
This looked like a sort of, you got all these vines and shit. Anything hazardous you could use this sign for?
Here, no, but I got an idea. Can you put some fucking jingle bells on there?
Yeah, we just got to offload these signs, man. That's all like...
It's okay. I'll take them. I'll put some fucking jingle bells on them.
We're going to take these signs. There seems to be some sort of exclusively mirror shop down the street.
No, actually, all those mirrors got broke last month.
Oh, shit, no. How's Mr. Yamashiro doing?
Not great. He really had to take a long look at himself. And couldn't. All the mirrors are broken.
Yeah. Let's just say we're pouring them Bloody Marys.
Yeah. A lot of self-reflection had to go on there.
I love the extended universe we've built.
Oh, yeah. God, we're the fucking Avengers. This is Marvel over here.
Yeah. On your left.
Ching, ching, ching,
It's
ching.
me, fucking wreath guy. Du, 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 du.
So they visit Madge and Edward Kerrigan, who seem like the fucking the nicest people.
Well, but they're creepy in their like TV 50s Leave It to Beaver
doll.
goodness.
Yeah, Valley of the Dolls.
Yeah. He's got like a pipe and a sweater. He's like, oh, terrific wreaths.
Yeah,
Like,
don't ask me about the homosexuals. That's
Jesus.
that's the vibe.
why does he also have the Brooklyn accent?
Because that's the only accent I get.
Achha.
Hetcha. Yeah, it's they're so like the 50s ideal parents sort of concept, right? Super
Yeah.
classic suburban.
Can I offer you some peanut brittle?
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah. Just like, oh gosh, aren't you both so sweet?
I actually should look up who the one actor is.
He's in so much
He's
stuff.
in lots of stuff. He's definitely one of those kind of
I
TV
see him
guys, 'cause
all
I
of
was
the
like,
time.
fuck him. And I was like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah, absolutely. Dean even says, so they end up leaving because they're like, well, these people are obviously innocent, right? And they go back to the motel, and further research reveals that they were actually in Seattle the previous year from the beginning of this episode, where 3 men disappeared.
Right around Christmas.
Yes.
And then they moved to Michigan in January.
Exactly. Dean actually says, so what Ozzy and Harriet are keeping a pagan god hidden underneath their plastic-covered couch? He's referring to Ozzy and Harriet Nelson, who starred in the 1950s TV sitcom The Adventures of Ozzy and Harriet, based on a wholesome American family. But Bobby advises them that that if the couple are pagan gods, stakes made out of evergreen wood were probably going to kill them. So so they're basically going like, something's not adding up. It seems like this, and if this is the case, they're probably gods, right? So
This actor is in so many things.
he's constantly
He's in like Chicago PD.
Yeah.
How to Get Away with Murder. He was in Bombshell. He was in Air Force One. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like your cookie cutter white dude.
He's
in
a lot of things.
Kind of
His name is Spencer Garrett.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dean also refers to the Kerrigans as the Cunninghams. This is a reference to the Wholesome Family and Happy Days from 1974.
Yeah.
So the boys return to the Kerrigan house that evening and head into the basement, in which they find a fucking slaughterhouse.
It's so scary.
It's the scariest like type of thing like this that the show has had.
And then like the Kerrigans find them.
Yeah.
And like
they find one of the victims still alive inside of a sack.
Yeah. Midge Kerrigan like lifts Sam up by his
Yeah.
neck. And
It's kind of hot.
But she goes like, "Oh, I wish you boys hadn't come down here."
Yeah. Oh god.
But she's like, yeah, and like they both seem like super strong and shit. And you're like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah. So they both get knocked out and taped captive. We then go to a scene where the boys are now bound to chairs in their kitchen. And what I love is then you now start seeing the whole house, and the whole house is like crazy, like super polished, Christmassy house. Like I think of like people's grandparents' houses that I've been to.
Yeah.
Like who like fully commit to Christmas.
And they're in one of those kind of very classic sort of colonial era homes. And
Yeah.
shit like that. Yeah.
Many of the episode's visuals were actually influenced by, of course, the holiday theme. The very festive and warm Christmas tones of the Kerrigan's house especially were intended by set designer Jerry Wanick to create the contrast with the brothers' little coal-burning old motel.
Yes.
Diane Wheatus created the costumes and had fun making the Kerrigan's Christmas sweaters very campy. Edward's Christmas sweater was originally going to be an over-the-top 3D snowman.
Wow.
They just like couldn't get it to work the way it wanted to, and it was just like too overbearing in the scene.
Right.
The Kerrigans confirm throughout a conversation that they are pagan gods who, since the rise of Christianity, as we talked to, have been trying to blend into human society.
So this is the scene I want to talk about.
Yeah.
We're talking about what this episode
Crazy scene.
introduces if you follow the if this, then this.
Yeah.
So a few things. One, they say we used to get, thousands of tributes every year. Now we only have, 3, 4, 5. That's not so bad.
Yeah.
They're like, we assimilated.
Yes.
We're trying to
I
live
love that
here.
scene because the Mrs. Kerrigan's like, oh, what's that word?
Yeah.
And he's like, assimilation. He's like, that's right, we assimilated.
Yeah,
We even do bridge on Wednesdays.
And frankly, if you were a god and you went to we will basically live among these people
Yeah.
and play bridge and we'll kill 3 of them a year.
Yeah.
Maybe.
How many cows
that
do you guys
probably
kill?
feels like a more than
Yeah.
reasonable compromise from
Yeah.
your perspective.
Yeah.
For the Winchesters, it's not acceptable, but they keep bringing it up. I was like, we were fucking gods. People worshipped us. And then this scene does a thing that
Little Jesus shows up.
that the
and-
rest of the show almost purposely ignores.
Yes.
They say, this Jesus guy shows
Yes.
up. We've already encountered demons, and we know there's hell. They're using Latin and spells.
Yeah.
This episode essentially confirms the existence. I mean, it doesn't, because Jesus was a historical figure.
Yes.
And Christianity was a real thing that happened.
Yes.
They could just be referring to that. But in the context of this show, to drop a line like that, you're like, sorry, Jesus?
Yes.
But it's also, it's
careful enough to not say this guy with powers,
but
Jesus.
It's the idea of who saps, if their powers are kind of sapped from being gods without followers.
Yeah.
Then if everyone believes in Jesus, and we've seen the Tulpa episode,
Yeah.
does that alone make Jesus real?
Hard to tell.
There are so many things that this episode throws out there, and you're like, wait a minute. You take 3 seconds to think about it, and you go oh, holy shit.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
It's a crazy thing to just toss out there.
Yeah.
Edward Kerrigan tells his wife that killing Sam and Dean, the Hardy Boys, here make 5. He's referring to the main characters of the 1920s mystery book series, The Hardy Boys, teenage amateur detectives Frank and Joe Hardy. I can't believe they started in the 20s. That's crazy. So I love they also go we just got to start our ritual sacrifice, and they're like, we're a stickler for rituals.
Yeah, they're putting boughs of whatever around their necks, and they're like, we need a bit of blood. And she's like, this will sting a bit, and they're cutting their arms
With these specific knives.
yeah, and bleeding them into this bowl, and
But then the worst fucking scene.
They fucking pull out Sam's fingernail.
Yeah, so
Ugh.
the tool that they use to pull off Sam's fingernails is a pair of fencing pliers, a multi-tool. It can be used to cut heavy wire, twist wire, hammer in fence staples. The part that got Sam's fingernail is to pull staples.
Ugh.
Yep, awful, because you think they'll cut away because they show it and then they cut away and you're like, great, and then they cut back. I was like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, God, it's bad.
That editing job is so intentionally there to fuck you
yeah.
up. I was like, so mean.
It's awesome.
They are interrupted just as they then go, oh, we need one more thing. We need a tooth.
Oh yeah, but then there's a knock on the door. It's one of the neighbors. Like, I brought you a fruitcake. And
Yeah.
like, this seems like an insufferable neighborhood.
Yes. Awful. And I love the scene too because they're like, great. They close the door, drop the fruitcake, step on it, and walk away.
Yeah.
By
the time they get back, Sam and Dean are not in their chairs anymore.
And they get locked into the kitchen.
They lock these gods in their kitchen.
Yes.
It's a funny sentence.
Very funny.
And they're like, we need different evergreen. Our stakes are in the basement. They're kind of blocking doors and stuff. The gods get out and they're sort of fighting them, but Sam's like, I think I found more evergreen.
Yes, it's the Christmas
literally
tree.
Using the Christmas tree.
I love it. Oh God, what a fun way to do that.
Oh.
They break off branches and just stab them through the hearts with it.
Well, they get Midge first, and Sam kind of like lifts her up.
Yeah.
On stick, and that's kind of fucked up. And then Dean stabs
what a weird
him through the chest.
What a weird day to film, to be like, here's these sweet old people who look even sweeter, like your grandparents.
They're gonna torture and beat the shit out of you. Then you're gonna stab them with a Christmas tree.
Yeah, what a weird thing to have to be like, okay, now I'm gonna stab the sweet old lady.
It's awesome though.
Yeah,
it's a good fight because it's scary because they're strong because they're gods.
Yeah. So visual effects shots often are produced but ultimately unused in this show. And this episode was no exception. After Madge is killed, the script describes Edward as screaming her name in all his godlike glory. The visual effects department interpreted this literally and had him transform into a tree creature all wooden and gnarled. However, it was deemed a little too on the nose.
That's fucking crazy.
I know. I want to see that so bad.
I want to see that too. That's fucking tight.
I know, it's metal as hell.
I don't know how you stab him, but
because he's wood.
Yeah.
But it's cool as hell.
That's crazy shit.
Yeah, man.
I like it.
I know. Give us the wood cut.
Yeah.
The chopped cut.
Hashtag release the pagan god.
Yeah.
Cut. Yeah.
So we get then another flashback to 1991.
Yeah.
We get another flashback to 1991.
Casey
Queso. Dean wakes Sam and explains that while he was sleeping, John returned and left a tree and presents. God, this fucking scene. If you were like, hey, at least it won't get sadder than finding out monsters exist.
I know. It's like, the really sad thing is like, he's not even trying to convince Sam that Santa exists. He's trying to convince him that their dad exists. It's like, oh God.
I love it. He's like, why didn't he wake me up? He's like, he tried like 1,000 times. I'm like, oh God.
It's so heart-wrenching.
Especially for me with an absent father growing up. It's not easy every time I watch that. And I'm like, yeah, I bet he did intend to come for Christmas. So Sam then runs over to grab presents.
You know who else intended to come for Christmas? That Santa who's jerking off in the trailer.
Yeah, it's going to be a white Christmas this year.
That's what he says quietly to the TV. White Christmas.
Oh God!
Have yourselves a merry little Christmas.
Dreaming.
Hark on the bells, sweet silver bells. Oh, silver say,
So what the sad scene is when Dean runs over, jumps on the couch, and is like just watching Sam open the gifts.
He's like, open your gifts. And he's so excited about it. And Sam opens them, and it's like a Barbie and like a twirly baton. And Sam's like...
Unfortunately, not the toys that Sam wanted.
Sam is like, Dad didn't come. Where did you get this? Dean's like, I stole it from a house up the street.
It was a rich house, yeah.
Swear I didn't know. They were chick toys.
Oh, God. Yeah, of course he says chick toys.
Because it's Dean.
Yeah. Sam wants to give Dean a gift instead. So he then goes, like, this gift that for Dad, you should have it. And he's like, Dad didn't show up. Dad's the one who lied to me. You didn't.
That's the saddest thing about this episode is Sam is meant to be like, what, like 9, maybe?
Yeah.
10?
Yeah.
And he's like, Santa doesn't exist. Dad is...
A false god.
My dad is a false god. And
all I have is my brother.
And I'm done with him.
Yeah.
All of my affection goes to you.
So he gives him the famous Samulet.
Yeah. Yeah, the necklace.
That's right. Which Dean wears to this day.
And this kid playing Dean does such a good job of being like, this is like a real
moment
gift and a real moment. Like, thank you. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like,
he does a really good job.
Yeah.
So an interesting fact about this.
It's a good episode for showing like the brothers. Dean clearly trying to look out for Sam has gone to a lot of trouble and crime to try and give him gifts for Christmas. And
it's a great. It ties so much
little,
together.
Like thing that Sam worked really hard on and spent money on, like Dean getting that is like you see both sides of like that bond.
It's probably a thing
really
that
good.
makes them as close as they are now is that moment.
Yeah.
So interestingly enough, the initial draft of the script focused solely on the brothers attempting to kill the pagan gods. When the episode came short, Edlund suggested the addition of flashbacks of Sam and Dean's childhood. The narrative device provided 2 revelations: the origin of Dean's necklace, the beginning of Sam's estrangement from his father, and the indoctrination into the supernatural world. Kripke noted that the staff loves to delve into the Winchester's childhood, and it deemed too good of an opportunity to pass up on, to be able to depict how Sam lost his innocence.
Yeah.
Fucking Carver Edlund.
At Christmas.
Carver fucking Edlund.
He
Holy
lost his
shit.
innocence at Christmas.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
We then flash to the present. The demons are the gods are now killed. We understand a bit more about the connection to Christmas and why it means so much to Dean and doesn't mean anything to Sam.
Yeah.
Dean comes back to the motel from buying beer that Sam had asked him to.
And now this time Sam is decorating the hotel room. He's doing Christmas.
He's got a tree hung with air fresheners, and he's made eggnog.
And he's got like just the shitty like you hang the letters like Merry Christmas on the wall kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Sam hands Dean a glass of eggnog and asks him if he needs more kick. The glass was supposed to be non-alcoholic, but Jared Padalecki actually dumped most of a bottle of rum into the glass.
So that reaction that
it's real.
That Dean has is real?
Yeah.
I like that.
I fucking love that.
Fun related story.
Yeah.
Listeners may or may not know
Oh,
that at one time I was an actor.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a time when you spiked my eggnog.
Oh, no, that's barely worth mentioning. I'm an actor. Back in theater school, I was in a play, and I was the main character, and I was on stage a lot. And the second half of the play opened with my character's like he was supposed to be very pious, but I'd like sneak a wine, take a sip, pour more, and then I'd hear a noise, and I'd have to down the wine, and then start the biggest monologue of the play.
Oh no!
And my now wife,
what?
Spiked it one night
with
vodka.
Oh my god!
It was grape juice.
Oh no!
She spiked it with vodka, and so I went out on stage, and the blocking was I take a sip, and I knew something was wrong, but then I had to hear the noise down the whole thing, so I knew what was happening as it was happening, and then I had to keep going, but it was like there were probably like 4 shots of vodka in there.
Oh my god! Did it fuck you up?
No, I'm a consummate professional.
Oh, yeah. And drunk.
I think that actually maybe was also the night where I forgot to take my watch off. So I was playing this like 16th century guy with a fucking Timex on.
That's very funny.
But yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the look of surprise and the cough when Dean drinks that is both genuine reactions.
I love that.
So good. The boys exchange presents, all brought from the local gas station.
Yeah.
I know.
I you know what though? It's very. I mean, it's them. You know, like I think it wouldn't feel right because it's not like you can get like here's a big framed picture that'd be like, for what house?
I know.
You know, like it kind of
No, I'm okay with the gas station thing. It's just what Dean gives Sam doesn't feel like a genuine Sam gift. That the way he enjoys it.
Sam is like, skin mags, yeah,
and I'm
which
like,
is a thing we've never.
No, Dean, sure.
Dean, yeah, it's a weird Sam thing, and also it's like, thanks, we always share a motel room, and now you know how I'm going to use this gift.
Yes. Oh, thanks for giving me the gift of jerking off.
Yeah.
Thanks for pleasing me, brother.
Yes, step bro.
Yeah. We sure it's by blood? I got some demon in me.
I've got your gift over here under the bed. Oh, I can't reach it. Oh no, I'm stuck.
Let me help you.
But Dean gets like motor oil and
like a chocolate bar.
Like a chocolate bar. And he's like, fuel for me, fuel for my baby.
I do love that.
Is that an
line.
early, like, calling the car baby?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because he's still saying my baby rather than baby.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's very cute, though. You know, I agree. I think the giving porno mags is a very Dean move, but Sam being that
stoked to it was weird.
I also think Sam is also putting on the let's have a happy Christmas thing. But yeah,
there is even Sam starts to then say something, but is overcome by emotion in the moment, and instead suggests that they watch a football game. On TV. I've still got a ton to say, so just prepare yourself.
Okay. Just because I was pulling this up just to get ready for
but also it feels like it's the
scores.
end. I've got a ton to say, which is really exciting.
Hit me.
So in the final scene of this episode, Sam and Dean, obviously we talked about already, exchanged presents, then drink the eggnog and watch the football game in an attempt to have a normal last Christmas together. If you're listening though, the song "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas" is playing in the background. As Sam turns on the TV, the camera begins to pan out of the room, and the lyrics, "Until then, we'll have to muddle through somehow," is extremely prominent and pulled out. You can hear sonically. So this is possibly a reference to the plot, because Sam and Dean are just muddling through their final months together. At this point, they only have about 5 months left until Dean is sent to hell. On the back of the motel door, as they pull back, it says the Thomas Kincaid suite. And the painting on the wall is reminiscent of the Thomas Kincaid painting. This is a reference to Jared's role as Kincaid in The Christmas Cottage. The Christmas Cottage is a movie that focuses on the painter Thomas Kincaid, obviously, and the inspiration behind this painting, The Christmas Cottage. Jared Padalecki stars as Thomas Kincaid, and Peter O'Toole co-stars as his mentor.
Jesus Christ, Jared Padalecki worked with Peter O'Toole.
Yep.
They feel like they're in two completely different worlds.
100%. It was announced as being the first in a 3-picture series to be produced by Lionsgate and Kincaid.
Oh, shit.
The movie was shot around Vancouver and Whistler in Canada from May to July in 2007. It was scheduled to be released in December 14th of 2007. In September, some sites began listing the name of the movie as Thomas Kincaid Home for Christmas. In early October of 2007, it was announced that the movie had experienced delays due to music licensing and final editing, and would be released in theaters in Christmas of 2008, the following year. During mid-2008, it was announced that the film, now called Thomas Kincaid's Christmas Cottage, would go straight to DVD, with a release date of November 11th, 2008. A studio screening of a version of the film made its way onto the internet in mid-October 2008. As of November 2008, there was no mention on whether the original 2 sequels will be produced. It basically just got leaked, and then they've never done anything with it since.
Oh, man. I mean, that's a bummer for Jared.
Yeah.
You thought he inked this big 3-picture thing, and Peter O'Toole, and yeah.
If one day we end up doing like a Patreon for this podcast, that's the thing we gotta watch.
Definitely. All the side gigs of...
I love it. There's so many good ones.
Especially Jared, I think.
Yeah, he really made a lot of efforts.
You know, Jensen's done other stuff,
before.
But I feel like Jared is in more and weirder things.
Horror stuff for sure. He definitely got
Horror
typecasted.
Stuff and yeah.
So super funny.
Interesting.
So that is the end of this episode.
Wow.
So much fun stuff to talk about.
Thoughts? Final thoughts?
This is one of my favorite episodes, period.
Yeah.
I fucking love this episode. It's always my favorite going through the series. I can't wait to get to this one. It's such a great, super tight script. I think the only thing that is even a question mark for me on this episode is who's the guy in the Krampus outfit? Are they summoning a monster?
I think that's meant to be like them.
Edward?
Like Edward.
Yeah.
Like, because I think the conceit is that they need things to be sacrificed to them.
Yes.
And so the long con is make the wreaths, have the wreaths doled out. People put the wreaths up, and that is the signifier that they are willing to make a sacrifice.
Yeah.
And then they can go and collect.
Yeah, because I think the guys describe it as like a neon sign.
The old rules kind of thing, and part of why they say they're sticklers for the rules kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're meant to think, because you also see the human hand.
Yeah.
So I think that's it. He dresses looks like the kind of Krampus thing, but I think it's just meant to be like Edward collecting.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's such a great, tight episode. The horror is really ramped up.
Oh yeah.
The it's very funny. It's like self-referential. It's like, I mean, there's the
devastating.
The emotional stuff is out of 10. Like everything is super out of 10, but also like the meta nature of it. They're referencing so many different things. It feels like pop culture-y. Like it works on every possible level. This is exactly the type of thing that the show is made for, which is like let's like have these guys like sort of parody a bit of horror stuff and pop culture, and it does such a great job, and also doing a thing that hadn't really like there's not a lot of like horror Christmas stuff out there, especially when this thing that came out.
Yeah,
there's a lot of like B stuff, but this was like. It was such a well done thing. It created such
a lot of it came after this.
Yeah. It really like sets a tone for it. Incredible writing by Carver.
Yeah.
I think that this is just like an incredible episode. It's one of my favorite for sure. So I'm gonna have to. I mean, of course, give it 5 out of 5 ripped off nails.
Oh, you took mine. Yeah, I mean, everything that you said, I mean, it's hitting the balance between all these different things so well. Mm-hmm. It's introducing or reintroducing lore that we may have forgotten since the first season. The idea that there are other gods and that the power and like variety of gods like waxes and wanes based on belief.
I love that.
And, you know, these kind of old rules, and we're riffing on the fact that like Christmas is like entirely manufactured.
Yeah.
It's like a Christian thing that took all these pagan things and was like, we'll do it here. Like kind of, I love that shit. You know, we've established so much really weirdly important character stuff in this episode, and most of it not on the backs of Jared and Jensen. These two kids are responsible for like the emotional core of the episode, and they do such a good job, which is wild. Like again, Supernatural kills it on casting. Really, really amazing stuff in those flashbacks that could otherwise feel like there's like, well, you're padding for time.
Yeah.
And even though that's kind of where it came from, it's like it contributes so much. It actually makes the episode work.
Yeah. It balances out perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, God, the horror, the gore, that crunching sound.
Yeah.
That whole scene with the kid and the Krampus. I was like, ugh.
They know when to show stuff and when not to.
Really masterful stuff. The contrast of like the horror of their torture and the really nicely decorated house.
Like the worst thing in the entire episode is when they show him pulling the nail off. Like,
and also the way they're acting, where he's like, "Oh, cheat
fiddlesticks."
I almost forgot a tooth.
Yeah,
you know, like that shit is creepy as hell. Yeah. I mean,
and in that outfit in that place, it's like the grandma from the fairy tale episode.
Yes, yeah, exactly. The exact same thing that was scary about that. Yeah, you're right. I mean, everything about this is perfect, and the fact that it's like, it is just an episode of Supernatural, but it also functions as like
a Christmas
special, but it also functions as like part of the bigger narrative of what will be the show without maybe even knowing that it's doing that.
You could just watch this episode not really having knowing the show and still
get a lot out of it. It's crazy how easy you could jump into this episode and be like, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's obviously a 5. I'm gonna say it's 5 wreaths for those fucking rubes.
Those fucking Christmas loving idiots.
Oh yeah, I don't know what's fair price for a wreath, $50.
Yeah. Well, no, they even say like, "What's a meadowsweet wreath worth?" And they're probably they were like, "A few $100." Yeah,
I mean, but they're again, like you said, they're saying it's really rare.
It's not.
But it's not.
It's not.
So they're probably worth like nothing.
Yeah, probably not. But not for these fucking idiots.
They don't know that.
Oh yeah, they also do. I forgot.
What, you think I live in a town with a bunch of fucking horticulture experts?
I forgot. They also do that another like homophobic thing at that store.
Do they?
Yeah, because
oh yeah, Dean is like
this one like needs to have that, and then I think even the storekeeper goes like, "Oh, aren't we a fussy one?" I'm just like,
yeah. It's if it's not homophobia, it's definitely like misogyny.
Yeah, I don't know.
Chauvinism, or something like that. But it's yeah. I mean, we're again less and less of it. And
yes.
This episode is strong enough to overcome those things,
Without a doubt. Yeah,
but yeah. Those
goddamn
fives all around. Baby.
I fucking love this episode.
Yeah,
I've been waiting to get to this one.
I'm looking ahead at the next couple of episodes.
They fucking
wild.
They sprint to the end.
How season 3 goes. I was like, oh shit, that episode. Oh shit, that episode.
Yeah, man.
Oh shit, that episode.
I know.
We're 3 episodes away from Mystery Spot.
I cannot believe
Oh my god, baby.
how is the season so good? It's
And how are there 12 more seasons after it?
talk about fucking jump. This show loves to jump the shark.
It's crazy.
This show like they're just like, oh, like do. This is a baby shark. We're gonna jump a lot bigger than this. Like, get ready.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now I got that in my head.
Yep. So that is it for this week. If you have a note about this episode, if there's possibly something I missed, because there's so much to talk about with this episode, or something from the past, or something from the future you want to talk about, or want us to talk about specifically, you can send us an email.
Yeah, ghostfacerspodcast@gmail.com.
And we are having a ton of fun talking about Supernatural all over our social media.
Yeah, Ghostfacers Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so that you can get every episode automatically in your feed each week. And speaking of, while you're on that app, give us a 5-star review.
Yeah, please. We love those.
Yeah. They really help us out. They help us get fucking more awards.
Oh, yeah. You want
That's what we're here for.
You want to know who was like the we actually got onto the Canadian after show chart.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Normally we're just like number 1 in Poland.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's nice to be appreciated where you're making them. So yeah, give us those 5-star reviews on those podcast platforms. If it's on the Apple one, we'll definitely get that. If it's on Facebook, we'll get those too.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if you get it on any other platform, which we definitely want, just take a screenshot and send that to us on like Twitter or one of those other platforms, where we'll get the notification and we will then read it on the podcast.
Yeah.
Those are a lot of fun to do. Speaking of fun, we have merch. Want to celebrate the show,
Baby.
Oh yeah, you want to get some of our Hungarian season 1 tour poster shirts. All that stuff is on ghostfacerspodcaststore.com. Make sure you want to check that out. And speaking of stuff that's relevant to your interest, we have a whole other podcast.
Yeah, Dr. DC podcast, Canadian Podcast Award winning.
Yeah, for
outstanding art series.
Yes, very prestigious podcast.
Very prestigious. We talk about DC Comics.
Yeah.
We answer listener questions. We talk about superheroes and basically the lore of superheroes and how that world works. And sometimes there's magic involved, and we're talking about actually kind of very similar things.
Yeah.
But at the very least, like story-wise, we keep finding more and more places where it's like, oh, it's like that. It started with with Richard being like, oh, this is like Supernatural. I was like, fine, I'll watch it. And now it's me being like, oh, this is like comics.
Yes. And do not worry. I know that it can be daunting, and the whole point of the podcast is to break down those barriers and make it easier for you to get into. Yeah. So to find a character you like, or an idea, a concept that you might be interested in, and jump in, and we're there for you.
And don't worry, we're equally thirsty over there.
Yeah, this has become actually the filthy podcast a bit. But
yeah, if you could believe it.
Though the last two, we like won an award and we're like, wow, we can't people thinking that this is a good podcast. We got much filthier in the last two episodes.
That's true.
So yeah, go check that out. We are everywhere that you get podcasts. Same place you get Ghostfacers, you'll get Dr. DC.
Baby.
Say goodbye, bitch.
Jerk.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.